So before starting the lecture, for my notes, I will give the numbering for the sequence. Okay, look at here. This is the first page for delivering the lecture or first page of the notes. So I will give G and anatomy of the skin. We studied skin is composed of three layers. So skin is composed of three layers. First one is the epidermis. Next one is the dermis. And last one is the subcutaneous. Epidermis, dermis, and subcutaneous. Then epidermis has the further five layers. Okay. So outer layer of the epidermis is the anucleated. We call them the stratum corneum. This is the stratum st corneum. Okay. Lower to that one is the stratum lucidum. Maybe here is the white color. I don't write the names. So here is the other layer. That is the stratum granulosum. Stratum. This layer is nucleated, known as stratum granulosum. Granulosum. So this is the whitish layer that is specially present on palms of hands and soles of feet. That is the stratum lucidum. Clear? And third layer where the cells are polygonal in shape, that is the stratum spinosum. Polygonal in shape. This is the stratum spinosum. Clear? Stratum spinosum. So I am writing their name also. Stratum spinosum. And next layer is the lower to that one. Here, the cells are the columnar in shape, column shape. Okay. So here the cells are columnar in shape. 1, 2, 3, 4. And in between these cells, there are the other cells. These are not attached to the desmosomes. These are the cells on the stratum basal or stratum bacillus or the stratum basale. So again columnar cells. And next is the other cell present here. This one cell is present here. And next other columnar cells and so on. So this is the epidermis. So this one layer is the stratum basale, basal. Stratum basal, stratum spinosum, stratum granulosum, stratum lucidum present only on the palms and hands, and this one is the stratum corneum. So in this discussion, we will continue the cells of the epidermis. Here, we will move on to the next step, not the layers, is the cells of epidermis. So this is the page number 2. So next is the cells of epidermis. So there are the 5 layers. In these layers, there are the cells of the epidermis. So cells of the epidermis are following. First one cell is the keratinocytes. That comprises 90% of the epidermis. It means cells of the, so these all are the keratinocytes. These cells, this cell, these cells, these are the all cells of the epidermis are the keratinocytes. So these keratinocytes comprises 90% of the epidermis. So second cells of the epidermis are the melanocytes. Melanocytes that give the color to the skin. So here in the stratum basale, these cells, especially this one cell, that is the melanocyte. And the stratum basale only, stratum basale, this cell is the dendritic cell. It has the dendritic processes. This cell has the dendritic processes. So that cell is the melanocyte. And other cells of the epidermis are the Merkel cell. Third cell of the epidermis is the Merkel, Merkel cell. We will discuss all these cells in detail. So where is the Merkel cell? So this one cell is in the basal. This one cell is the Merkel cell. So this one cell in the stratum basal, that has the Merkel cell. And last cell of the epidermis is the Langerhans cells. Fourth cells are the Langerhans cells. That is for the phagocytosis. So where are the Langerhans cells? So in this epidermis, maybe these are the dendritic cells. These dendritic cells in the epidermis are the Langer. So dendritic cells in the epidermis, this one. These dendritic cells in the epidermis are the cells. Dendritic cells in the keratinocytes, these are the Langerhans cells. So how many cells? 4 types of the cells. 90% these cells, and these are known as keratinocytes. Other are the melanocytes. Other are the Merkel cells and dendritic cells. But important point related to all these cells. What is the important point? So these cells, cells of the stratum granulosum, these are adherent to each other by the cementing substance secreted by the Odland bodies. These cells are adherent to each other. I gave you the model, that is the brick and mortar model. Cells of the stratum granulosum are adherent to each other by the intercellular cementing substance, that is the adherent cells are adherent to each other by the intercellular segmenting substance secreted by the Odland bodies. But cells of the stratum spinosum, these are attached to each other by the specific protein known as desmosome. This greenish color is the desmosome. Clear? And cells of the stratum basal, these are also attached through each other by the cells of desmosomes, specific protein desmosome. But keep in mind, melanocytes is not attached to the columnar cells of the Stratum basal, it is free, no attachment with the help of desmosome. So no desmosome for the melanocyte. Melanocyte that is present in the basal cell layer has not attached to the keratinocytes of the basal cell layer with the help of desmosome. It is free, but it has its own dendrites. These are its own dendrites. Therefore, it is called as dendritic or the processes cell. Last one is the Merkel cell. Merkel cell is also attached by the desmosome. It has desmosomes. Clear? So let's discuss the cells one by one. Cells of the epidermis one by one. So 90% are the keratinocytes. So let's start with the keratinocytes. Page number 3, keratinocytes. So these are the cells of the skin that comprises the 90% of our epidermis. So hallmark of these keratinocytes, hallmark of these cells, they have keratin filaments. You know, keratinocytes have the keratin filaments. Hallmark of these cells is the presence of keratin filaments. We have discussed what are the keratin filaments. So look at this. I am going to draw only one keratinocytes. Maybe this is any of the keratinocytes. This is any of the keratinocytes. Maybe this is the keratinocytes of the stratum spinosum, and this is the keratinocytes of the stratum basal because it is a columnar in shape. So stratum basal and stratum spinosum. So in this keratinocytes, there are the filaments, and in this are also filaments. These filaments are made up of the protein, and that protein is known as keratin. And present, these filaments are known as keratin filaments. But keratin filament in the stratum basal are known as K5, K14. Keratin filament in the stratum basal is known as K5, K14. While these filaments are the keratin filaments, these are the keratin filament, keratin filament in stratum spinosum is known as K1, K10. Clear? And what is the hallmark of the keratinocytes? Presence of the keratin filaments. So this keratin filament is made up of, fourth page, keratin filament made up of protein, that is the keratin. So keratin filaments are made up of the protein, that is the keratin protein. So other name of this keratin filament is also written on the book is the tonofilaments. T-O-N-O, tonofilament. This is the other name of the keratin filament, tonofilament. And also these are known as the intermediate filament. Other name is the intermediate filament. So how many names of the Keratin filaments, three names. Keratin filaments, intermediate filaments are the tonofilaments. These are made up of the protein that is the keratin, that is the protein. You know, all the proteins are made up of amino acids. So on the basis of the this keratin protein has the amino acid, that amino acid is the cysteine. Cysteine amino acid. If keratin is divided in two types of the keratin, keratin is divided in two types of the keratin. So keratin is a protein and protein is made up of amino acids. So amino acid present in keratin protein is cysteine amino acid. So this keratin is two types. One is the soft keratin and other is the hard keratin. So what is the difference in the soft keratin and hard keratin? When the disulfide bond, what is that? When there is a decreased, less or decreased number of disulfide bond between cysteine amino acid, AA amino acid. So that protein in which there are only smaller amount of the amino acids. So when the amino acids are smaller, here the one cysteine, other cysteine, other cysteine, other cysteine, other cysteine, and the this is the bond, that is the disulfide bond. So it is less. When there is a decreased number of the disulfide bond between amino acids, that will make soft keratin. And opposite to that, when there is an increased number of the or increased number of disulfide bond between the cysteine amino acid, maybe one cysteine, other cysteine, other cysteine, other cysteine, other cysteine, multiple cysteine. So this will make a bigger chain. So number of the disulfide bonds are more here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So here are the 6 bonds, and here are 1, 2, 3, 4. Only 4 bonds. So when the number of the disulfide bonds between cysteine amino acid is more, that will make hard keratin. When the number of the amino acid between cysteine is less, that will make soft keratin. Soft keratin is present in skin. Skin has the soft keratin, and hard keratin is present in nail. Nails have the hard keratin. Clear? So these are the different types of the keratin that have the nail, and hard skin has the soft keratin. Okay. Next, page number 5. Here is the page number 5. So we have come. Other is the keratin are the heterodimers, keratin heterodimers. So what is the keratin heterodimers? Keratin heterodimers. So what are the keratin heterodimers? All the students should mute their mics. So when you speak, it creates a problem. Screen stucks. So keratin heterodimers. So we have studied that in the stratum basale, this is stratum basale, these keratins are present. And these keratins are K5, K14. When these both K5 and K14 join, they will form the keratin heterodimers. Very simple. What is the keratin heterodimers? When two keratin, K5 or K14, K10 or K1, K6 or K16. When both keratin joins, they will form the keratin heterodimers. Clear? So there are the keratin heterodimers. There are the multiple keratin heterodimers. I can show you where are the keratin heterodimers. Especially, let's start. First one is the K5, K14. First keratin heterodimer is the K5, K14. Where it is present? Site. It is present in the stratum basal. Stratum basal. So site of the K5 and K14 is stratum basal. When if it is defective, so disease. When it is defective, K5 and K4, genetically they are defective, then there will be a disease that is the epidermolysis bullosa simplex. Epidermolysis bullosa simplex. This is the disease that is due to the genetic defect in the stratum basale cell of the K5 and K14 keratin filament. Next one keratin heterodimer is the K1, K10. Okay, I think again I have to mute all of you. So next keratin heterodimer is K1 and K10. Where it is present? It is present in the stratum spinosum. In the stratum spinosum, K1 and K10 are present. Third one, keratin heterodimer is the K2 and K11. They are present in the stratum granulosum. Stratum granulosum. Okay. So next one is the heterodimer. Fourth one is the K3, K12. So this K3 and K12 are present cornea. Cornea. They are present in the cornea. So when there is a genetic defect in the synthesis of K2 and K3 and K12. So here is the K12, not a 2. K12 in the cornea. So there will be a corneal dystrophy. Disease is the corneal dystrophy. Corneal dystrophy. So let's move on to the next one. Page number 6. Other keratin is the keratin number 5. That is the K4, K13. K4, K13. What is the site for the K4 and K13? Is the buccal mucosa. It is present in buccal mucosa. Okay. And next one, sixth one is the K6, K16, K6 and K16. It is present in nails. They can ask the MCQs for their site. Last one, seventh one is the K8 and K18. Keratin 8 and K18. So they are present in liver, and their defect will lead to liver cirrhosis. Liver cirrhosis. So these are the keratin heterodimers. Keratin heterodimers mean when both keratin join, they will make the keratin heterodimers, and these are the different types of the keratin heterodimers, their site and their disease. So you have to remember all these things. So up to now we have completed the one cell of the epidermis, that is the keratinocytes. So next cells of the epidermis is the melanocytes. Let's move on to the next cell, that is the cell number 2, melanocyte. Melanocytes. These are the other cells of the epidermis. Melanocytes. We have studied that melanocytes are the have the processes or the dendrites. Okay, so these are the dendritic cells. So these cells have processes or dendrites. Clear? Could you write their diseases for all through? Okay, so let's discuss the. Okay, we'll discuss. Don't worry. So I am discussing this cell. Now moving on to this cell, that is the melanocyte. I have already told you they have the processes or the dendrites. It is not attached through the desmosomes with the keratinocytes. Okay, and melanocytes have the processes or the dendrites present in stratum basal, especially, but also present in eye, also present in hair follicles, but up to now it is level for your level, it is present in the stratum basal. So next point, the melanosomes will, I am only drawing the one melanocytes. So here is the page number 7, melanocyte. Okay, so melanocyte, here is the one melanocyte, maybe this is any of the melanocyte. It has the spinous processes. Okay, and these are the different stratum basal. Here is the stratum basal. Okay, so each melanocyte is present after 10 cells of the stratum basal. So when the 10 cells of the stratum basal, then will be a melanocyte. Here 10 cells of the keratinocytes, then will be a melanocyte. So ratio of presence of the melanocyte is 1:10. After every 10 keratinocytes, there will be a 1 melanocytes. Okay. So next point, this melanocytes are equal in number. I am discussing melanocytes. These melanocytes are equal in number per centimeter square of the stratum basal for each and every individual. So it means these melanocytes are constant. Melanocytes are
Please, can you repeat
constant
it
in
again?
each individual. It does not mean that Amjad, Stephen, Johan, all these three guys has the same number of the melanocytes. Melanocytes in each individual is constant. Clear? So, what is the things that melanocytes will synthesize? In the melanocytes, there are the melanosome. These are the melanosome. These are the granules. We call them the melanosome. And these melanosomes are filled with the melanin, filled with colored pigment, that is the melanin. So melanocyte are the cells in their cytoplasm, they has the melanosome, and melanosome is filled with the melanin. So these melanosome, they will secrete the melanin into their processes, and then the process will transfer this melanin to the keratinocytes. Keep in mind, melanocyte, what is their ratio? Are present after 10 keratinocytes. Ratio is 1:10. But these melanocyte has the melanosomes. These melanosomes has the filled with the melanin. So melanosomes will transfer their melanin through the processes to the keratinocytes. So melanosome will transfer their melanin to the nearby keratinocytes. These are the nearby keratinocytes through their processes. So what is the meant by it? So it means one melanosome can transfer their melanin up to 36 keratinocytes. One melanosome can transfer their melanin, that is colored pigment, up to 36 keratinocytes. So one melanosome are transferred to the keratinocytes with the help of the dendrites. So 36 keratinocytes are transferred only with the one melanocyte. So one melanocyte can transfer their melanin up to 36 keratinocytes. So ratio is 1:36. It is the presence ratio of the presence of the melanocyte. After every 10 keratinocytes, there will be a one melanocyte. Number of the melanocytes in every individual will be constant. It means if I have 200 melanocytes, all the male and female, all the human body has the 200 melanocytes. Melanocytes, number of the melanin producing cells are constant. So one melanocyte with the help of the melanosome can transfer the melanin through these processes up to 36 keratinocytes, and this is known as EMU. Sorry, EMU. It means epidermal melanin unit. EMU means epidermal melanin unit. EMU, epidermal melanin unit. So now you will tell me what is the epidermal melanin unit? Epidermal melanin unit is 1:36. It means one melanocyte can transfer its melanin up to 36 keratinocytes, that is epidermal melanin unit. Is it clear? Okay. Okay, next. What is the different shades of the skin? Different shades of the skins are due to melanin, not a melanocyte. Again, I tell you, different shades of the skin are due to here, page number 8. Why the different shades of skin? You know, melanocytes in each and every individual is constant. When the melanocyte is constant, then why the different persons have the different colors of the skin, different shades of the skin? So these different shades of the skins are due to two reasons. One is the difference in the number, size, and distribution of the melanosome. One is due to difference in number, size and distribution of melanosomes, not a melanocyte. Keep in mind, melanocyte is constant. So it is due to difference in number, size, and distribution of the melanosome. And second reason, it is due to the proportion of eumelanin and pheomelanin. It is due to proportion of eumelanin and pheomelanin. I will discuss what is the eumelanin and what is the pheomelanin. So let's move on to the next page. So actually melanin is
Sir,
three
please
types.
repeat.
Okay. So why the different shades of the skin, whether melanocyte is constant, then all the persons should have the same skin, black, brown or white. But every person has a different shade of the skin. It is due to two reasons. One is it is due to difference in number, size and distribution of the melanosome, not a melanocyte. Other is it is due to the proportion of melanin. Melanin is a colored pigment, color giving pigment. Are the so we were discussing about when EMU, epidermal melanin unit, is 1:36, then why different person have the different colors of the skin? So it is due to two reasons. One is the difference in size, number, and distribution of the melanosome. Distribution means when the melanosomes are distributed or the melanosomes are present above the basal layer. Maybe melanosomes are transported into the stratum spinosum. When the melanosomes are above their structure, then they will impart a different color. Other reason is the due to proportion of eumelanin and pheomelanin. So these eumelanin and pheomelanin are the types of the melanin. Actually, eumelanin is true melanin and pheomelanin is a false melanin. I tell you one thing. So here I tell you the important point. Next, move on to the page number 9. So melanin is actually in one book they have written the melanin in two types, but in other book they have written the melanin of
In
three
step,
types.
sir.
Okay, don't worry. In one book they have they written the melanin two types. One is the eumelanin, other is pheomelanin, and other book has written the third type, that is neuromelanin. Clear? So what is the eumelanin? Eumelanin is a true melanin. What does mean by true melanin? It means it is a true pigment of the skin, true color of skin. So it will impart which one color to the skin? Dark or brown color to the skin. So it will impart brown or black color to skin. So eumelanin is actually melanin or true melanin that will impart the brown or black color of the skin. So what is the pheomelanin? So pheomelanin is false melanin. It will impart red or yellow color of skin. So person who has the red color of the skin or yellow color of the skin, his pheomelanin are greater than eumelanin. The person who has the dark or black color of the skin or brown color of the skin, his eumelanin ratio is more than pheomelanin. So then what is the neuromelanin? These neuromelanins are present in brain parts. Have you heard the word substantia nigra? Especially substantia nigra for the dopamine synthesis. So there is a nucleus in the pars compacta. Which one? Pars compacta. There is a nucleus that is the substantia nigra. So this new neuromelanin gave the black color, substantia, substance nigra, Nigerians. So it will give the black color to the brain. So substantia nigra is a black part of the brain, or it is a nucleus that have the black in color. So that is the eumelanin, which is neuromelanin. The person who have the more eumelanin, they have the true melanin or black brown, and person who have the pheomelanin are the dark red yellow. Question: so when melanocytes are equal, when melanocytes are equal in amount, constant in every individual, then if you expose to sun, then why the color of the skin changes? What does it mean? When you expose to sun, then why the color of your skin, it means exposed area of your part, change of the skin, color of the skin changes. Actually, this darkening of the site that is exposed is due to the loss of uniformity. So that color of the skin changes is due to loss of uniformity. What is meant by this loss of uniformity? Loss of uniformity mean one melanocyte can transport or transfer the melanin up to 36 keratinocytes. But when you expose to the skin or sun, maybe this EMU, epidermal melanin unit, it will change. Maybe this one melanocyte can transfer more than 36 keratinocytes. So color of the skin changes and condition is called as tanning due to loss of uniformity. What is the uniformity? Uniformity is the one melanocyte can transfer melanosomes up to 36 keratinocytes. But when this will change, eumelanin will be more transported to the keratinocytes. Definitely, what will be color of the skin will changes. Sorry, next one. There are some disorders. So before going to disorder, one important point is the how the melanin is synthesis. It means what is the process of the melanogenesis. Sorry, 11 is the melanogenesis. Melanogenesis means synthesis of the melanin. So melanin is synthesized from the tyrosine. It is synthesized from tyrosine. So tyrosine will convert biosynthesis into dopa by the help of enzyme that is the tyrosinase. Tyrosinase enzyme. Then this dopa, it will again change into the dopaquinone. dopaquinone. And then this dopaquinone can be can make the eumelanin or the pheomelanin. If this dopaquinone will change into dopachrome. If this dopaquinone will change into the cystenyl dopa, then this dopachrome is eumelanin and cystenyl dopa is a pheomelanin. This is the synthesis. Okay, don't worry. So here is the melanogenesis. Now screen is clear, I think. Melanogenesis, melanin are synthesized from the tyrosine. There is an enzyme that is the tyrosinase, TYR, tyrosinase, that will convert the tyrosine into dopa, and then dopa into dopaquinone. Then dopaquinone will make dopachrome, that is the eumelanin or true melanin, and dopaquinone into cystenyl dopa, that is the pheomelanin, that is dark or yellow, and this is black or brown. So when there is a some disorders of the pigmentation, so when there is a some problem, we will discuss in detail, but now we are going to discuss their only names or some important features. So what are the pigmentary disorders? Here are the some pigmentary disorders. So keep in mind, don't be confused like the pediatrics. So these are just only little bit about the pigmentary disorders. So when we will start the chapter of the pigmentary disorders, we will discuss them through the clinical point of view. What is their diagnosis? What are their clinical features, presentations, and also treatment or management. Clear? So just only now I'm going to discuss their names. What are the, sir, how the sunblock helps to prevent the more mole formation or darkening? You know, when there is sunblock, then the ultraviolet light of the sun will not directly touch the skin. So there will be no melanin production changes. There's no change in the melanogenesis. So no color of the skin will change. So there are the three kinds of the pigmentary disorders. One pigmentary disorder is due to the melanocyte. Pigmentary disorders due to melanocyte. Other pigmentary disorder is due to the melanosome and other is due to the melanogenesis. Pigmentary disorder due to the melanosome and other is due to the melanogenesis. It means pigmentary disorder due to the number of the cells of the melanin production cells. Pigmentary disorder due to the granules that are present into the melanocyte and the melanogenesis synthesis of the melanin. So what are the disorder due to the melanocytes? So there is an autoimmune disease that can destroy the total number of the melanocytes. So melanocytes are not present. That is known as vitiligo. Vitiligo. Vitiligo is a disease when antibody will produced against the melanocyte and destroy all the melanocytes. Then due to the absence of the melanocyte, color of the skin will be white. Other name of white is the depigmented. white skin, depigmented. So vitiligo is the autoimmune disease in which antibody will destroy all the melanosomes and no melanocyte, no melanogenesis, no melanin, no color of the skin. Skin is depigmented. So second disease due to the melanocytes is the pibaldism. Pibaldism. This is the second disease. So actually, it is also the absence of the melanocyte. So when there is a, this one is not autosomal. This is autoimmune disease, and this one is the genetic disorder. So pibaldism is a genetic disorder in which there is an absence of the melanocyte. So this genetic disorder is the autosomal dominant genetic disorders. So this genetic disorder is the autosomal chromosomes, but these chromosomes are dominant. Autosomal dominant genetic disorders, there will be no melanocyte. Here, no melanocyte due to the autoimmune disease. Clear? And skin will be depigmented white skin. Clear? So it is a genetic. So maybe in the family history, there is other person who has the white depigmented skin. Other third condition is the lentigens. Lentigens. So I am discussing this lentigens on the next page. So here, okay, I am making a arrow and discussing this lentigens here. So this is the lentigens. So actually lentigens is the increased number of the melanocytes. What will increase? Increased melanocytes. We have discussed that melanocytes are constant. So then it is the how the melanocytes can increase. It is a genetically. So increase the number of the melanocytes. So that is the genetical increase of the melanocytes. So when the melanocytes will increase, definitely melanosome will increase. Melanosome will increase. So melanin will increase. So when the melanin will increase, the color of the skin will be dark brown. What is the color of the skin? Dark brown, and it will be extra dark brown, so called as hyperpigmented. Extra dark brown, it is called as hyperpigmented. So hyperpigmented macule. Hyperpigmented macule. So what is the macule? Macule is not raised, not depressed, skin change in color, change in skin color. It means when the color of the skin is changed and you want to palpate that color change area of the skin, there is no depressed area, no raised area, only flat skin is changed. It means you can only feel the color change, but you can't palpate anything. So that is macule. Macule is a condition. So look at here. So this is the my this side of the hand, this is my this side of the hand. So it has the different color, it has the different color. Maybe this part of the skin, it will become white. So I can't palpate it because it is not raised, it is not depressed, only there is a color change. So when there is only color change and the flat skin, and but this color change of the flat skin is less than 0.5 centimeter, So such color change or such flat color change is known as macule. What is the macule? Macule is not raised, not depressed, or only flat change of color of the skin, but less than 5 centimeter in diameter. Clear? So that is the lentigens. Okay, so this is the lentigens. In the lentigens, there is a associated syndrome with the lentigens. That syndrome associated with the lentigen is the Peutz-Jeghers syndrome. Peutz-Jeghers syndrome. Peutz-Jeghers syndrome in PJS. Peutz-Jeghers syndrome is associated with the lentigens. PJS, Peutz-Jeghers syndrome. So in this Peutz-Jeghers syndrome, what are the conditions or the features? There will be a gastrointestinal GI polyps. Gastrointestinal polyps. Okay, there will be a perioral lentigens. Perioral lentigens. Lentigens mean change or hyperpigmented skin around the face or lips. So in the Peutz-Jeghers syndrome is associated with the lentigens, and lentigens is associated with the Peutz-Jeghers syndrome. Why I am putting the force here? Because once in the PMDC, they asked that lentigens is associated with the which of the following syndrome? Peutz-Jeghers syndrome, because in the Peutz-Jeghers syndrome, there is a gastrointestinal polyps and perioral lentigens. Okay. So these are the three color disorders or pigmentary disorder due to the melanocyte. So other are the pigmentary disorders due to the melanosome. So in the melanosome, there is only pigmentary disorder that is known as nevus acromicus. Nevus, sorry, Nevus, Nevus, nevus acromicus. Nevus acromicus. Other name is the nevus depigmentosus. Nevus depigmentosus. So pigmentary disorders due to the melanosome is the nevus acromicus or nevus depigmentosus. So what will happen in this condition? This is a defect in the transfer of the melanosome. What is the defect here? Here is the defect in transfer of melanosome. Melanosome will not transfer to the keratinocytes. So when the melanosome will not transfer to the nearby 36 keratinocytes, so it will be hypopigmented lesion. So what will be the lesion here? Because the defect in the transfer of the melanosome, so lesion will be hypopigmented. Hypo mean less, pigment mean color. Hypopigmented lesion. Hypopigmented lesion. Next one is the defect or disorder due to the melanogenesis. So first one is the melasma. Freckles. Okay. And third one is the albinism. Albinism. NISM, albinism. So these are three disorders that are due to the melanogenesis. So let's discuss one by one. First one is the melasma, freckles, albinism. So what are these disorders? So 13. First one is the melasma. So melasma is most commonly seen in the pregnant ladies. So that is due to decrease, melasma is seen in the pregnant ladies mostly, and it is due to the increased melanogenesis. So what will happen in the melasma? In the melasma is the increased melanogenesis. Increase, melanogenesis. So on the face of the pregnant ladies, there will be a brownish spots, but there is no need for the treatment. These are the self-limiting conditions. Okay, next one is the freckles. Freckles. One melasma, second is the freckles. So freckle is due to increased in the melanogenesis. It is freckles is also increased melanogenesis. So the skin will be hyperpigmented macule. Hyperpigmented macule. We have discussed what is the macule. Macule is the not raised, not depressed, flat change in the color of the skin. But you know, freckles are most common on the white people. White people, it means all the Hollywood actors, they are white in color, but on their face there are the small hyperpigmented blackish color dots on the face. So these blackish color dot on their face are the freckles. That freckles is due to the hyperpigmentation, hyper or the increased melanogenesis. So color, skin color will be hyperpigmentation. So there is a syndrome associated with the freckles. One was the SJS or PJS was associated with the lentigens. There is another syndrome that is associated with the freckles, that is the xeroderma pigmentosa. What is that? Xeroderma pigmentosa. Xeroderma pigmentosa. So what is xeroderma pigmentosa? So I am drawing it here. Xeroderma pigmentosa. So I have already told you that we will discuss all these pigmentary disorders in detail. Just only remember them, only few points related to this. We will discuss what are their clinical features, what are indications, what are the biopsy, what are the Nikolsky sign, what are the Esbo-Henson sign, what are the management and the treatment. Just here, just I'm giving you the little bit idea because it is introductory. So actually, this xeroderma pigmentosa is an autosomal recessive disorder. It is the autosomal but recessive. So what will happen? Patient has the DNA repair defect. So in this condition, patient has DNA repair defect. What does it mean? It means when white people are exposed to the sun, their color of the skin does not change. You know, when the white people exposed to the sun, the color of the skin does not change. Only there is a burning sensation. Clear? But when the white people, oh sorry, brownish people are exposed to this sun, the exposed area of the body, they will turn black. That is tanning. So what will happen when the white people are exposed to the sun? If there is a DNA of the skin that has the repair defect, so what will happen? There will be a,
Sir,
yes, yes.
sir, sir, which type of melanin causes the white color pigmentation?
Uh, Actually, white color is due to pheomelanin, but not a pigmentation. It means when pheomelanin is more, then the color of the skin is white, and we call it hypopigmentation. When the eumelanin is more, color of the skin is dark or brown. But when the color of the skin is brown, but some parts of the skin are extra brown, we call them hyperpigmentation. Hyperpigmentation means more color. Hypopigmentation means less color. Okay. So when there is a DNA repair defect, then this freckles can go in advance and change into the cancer, and that cancer is the squamous cell carcinoma. But when you feel, when the person comes to you and she says that I am a doubt that I have this squamous cell carcinoma, then you will ask her, have you ever have the freckles on your face before? If she says yes, it means then there is a doubt that freckles have advanced into squamous cell carcinoma that is due to the DNA repair defect. It is most common in white people. Clear? Now, last one after the freckles is the albinism. So let's move on to the albinism. So in your FSC classes, maybe you have studied little about the albinism. Albinism is a defect in the melanogenesis. So albinism is the melanogenesis defect. So actually, when there is no melanogenesis, no melanin, so melanins are present in skin, are present in eyes, especially retina, and also present in hair follicle. So these are the melanin are present in skin, eyes, especially retina, and also hair follicles. So when there is a no melanogenesis, no melanin, so skin will be white, no pigment of the skin. Retina will be photophobia. When the person will go into light, feel a phobic. Hair follicle, and so hair will be white. No color of the skin, no color of the hair, and the photophobia. So these are the feature of the albinism. Albinism is due to the melanogenesis defect. It is a melanogenetic defect. So it includes the eye and skin. So therefore, its other name is the oculocutaneous disorder. So there is no treatment for the albinism. So it is the defective melanogenesis. So skin and the hair will be depigmented. Okay. So what is the defective here? Actually, here is the TYR, tyrosinase, that genes that are responsible for the tyrosinase. These genes, there will be no tyrosinase. When there is no tyrosinase, tyrosine will not convert into dopa, and dopa will not convert into the melanin finally. So this is the defect into the tyrosinase defective gene, that are the TYR genes are defective. So definitely there will be no synthesis of the eumelanin or the pheomelanin. So look at here. So melanogenesis, this if these genes are these Y genes, TYR, these genes are not expressed themselves, no tyrosinase, tyrosine will not convert into dopa and no melanogenesis. So this is the albinism. Clear? So we have discussed two cells, keratinocytes and the melanocytes. Actually, there are four cells of the epidermis. So let's move on to the third cell of the epidermis. So what is the third cells of the epidermis? Is the Merkel cell. So Merkel cells, these are the third cells of the epidermis. So Merkel cells are also known as touch cells or touch receptors. Merkel cells are also known as touch receptors. So I want to show you a diagram. So these cells are present into the stratum basale. Look at here. So these are the Merkel cells. Merkel cells are the touch receptor. So these are present in epidermis, especially into the stratum basale. Clear? So have a 10-minute break. Then we will continue from the Merkel cells. So any melanin responsible for the different color? No, no. Yes, sorry. So melanin is also responsible for different colors of the eye. That melanin is present in iris. So you know different colors of the eyes are due to the iris. So iris has the pigmentary melanin that will give the different colors to the eyes. But in the albinism, person is photophobic to the light. Person is phobic to light, called as photophobia. So have a 10-minute break, then we will continue from third types of the cells, that are the Merkel cells. Next type of the epidermis cells are the Merkel cells. So I told you that Merkel cells are the touch receptors. So look at this diagram. This is the stratum basale. In this stratum basale, this is the cell that is attached to nearby keratinocytes by the help of desmosomes. And these are known as Merkel cells. So Merkel cells are type 1 touch receptors present in stratum basale. Okay, so let's discuss the Merkel cells in detail. So Merkel cells are type 1 slowly adopting touch receptors. What are the Merkel cells? These are the type 1 slow adopting touch receptors. And where they are present? They are present into the last part of the epidermis, stratum basale. But once they asked the MCQs in the PMDC, so the Merkel cells are located which of the following parts of the epidermis? But stratum basale was not an option. They asked, question was, Merkel cell are present in, option were papillary dermis, A, papillary dermis, okay, one student wants papillary dermis. B was retirages, Retteridges. Retteridges. C was epidermis and D was dermis. So what is your option? With which one option you want to go? Merkel cells are present actually in the stratum basale, but in this option there is no stratum basale. Merkel cells are present in papillary dermis, rettiridges, epidermis or dermis. You want to go with which option?
Epidermis, sir.
Epidermis, but which epidermis mean all the layers of the epidermis? There are the 5 layers of the epidermis. So it means epidermis is not clear because epidermis is a collectively name. It has the 5 layers. Actually, best option is the rettiridges. So what are the rettiridges? I want to show you rettiridges. Rettiridges. Actually, in between dermis and dermis, there is a this kind of the part. So upper part of this one is the epidermis and lower is the dermis. So lower projection, so look at here, lower projection of epidermis. This is lower projection. Lower projection of epidermis is the rettiridges. And upper projection, this projection of dermis, upper projection of dermis, this one. So this is the lower projection of epidermis and this is the upward mean upside. So these are the upward projection. This is the upward, this is again upward, this is again upward. So and this is downward. So upward projection or upward projections are, sorry, dermal papilla. Lower the upward projections are the dermal papilla. So I think it should be clear. Dermal papilla or papillae. So actually, stratum basal is present here. So it means stratum basal is also part of rettiridges. So best option is the rettiridges. Rettiridges are the lower or downward projection of the epidermis and dermal papilla is the upward projection of the dermis. Clear? So these are the Merkel cells. 16th, next page, page number 16. So there are the two types of the touch receptors. So touch receptors are two types. One is the type 1 and type 2. Type 1, type 2. And the type 1 are the slow adopting touch receptor. These are slow adopting. And these are fast adopting. Slow adopting and fast adopting or rapid adopting. So what are the example of slow adopting touch receptors and examples of the fast adopting? So first example is the Merkel cell. Ruffin's nerve endings. RUFFINS. Ruffin nerve ending. Free nerve ending. So these are the type 1 touch receptors that are slow adopting. Merkel cells Ruffin nerve endings, and free nerve endings. And what are the examples of the rapid or the fast adopting touch receptors? These are the hair end organs, hair end organ. These are the Meissner corpuscles, Meissner corpuscles, and also Pacinian. Pacinian cells are corpuscles. So these are the, okay, again repeating, students who joined me now. So there are the two types of the touch receptors, type 1, type 2, slow adopting and fast adopting. Merkel cells, Ruffin nerve endings, free nerve endings, hair end organs, Meissner corpuscles, and Pacinian corpuscles. So out of all these all these six, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which one is the most important touch receptors? Which one is the most important touch receptors? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Which one is the most important touch receptors out of all these six? What is your answer?
Ruffin nerve ending.
Ruffin's nerve ending?
Ruffin.
No. No, no,
No.
no. Pacinian corpuscles. Why? Because Pacinian corpuscles are for the vibration of the body. Vibrations or vibratory movements. Okay. So Pacinian corpuscles are important for the carrying out of vibration. Vibrations are carried by Pacinian corpuscles. Therefore, Pacinian corpuscles are important touch receptors. Clear? So these other fourth one, last part of the cells that are present in the epidermis, that is the cell number 4, is the Langerhans cell. You know, Langerhans cells are related to immunity. Okay, so these are the phagocytocytic in nature. Look at here. So these are the Langerhans cells. So these Langerhans cells are antigen presenting cells that will help for the phagocytosis. Clear? So Langerhans cells are antigen presenting cells, APCs, and these are responsible for phagocytosis. How they will phagocytose? Actually, and where they are present? Sorry, first their location. Where they are present? They are present into the stratum spinosum. Look at here. This is the stratum spinosum. So they are present in stratum spinosum. So how they are phagocytosed? Actually, they have the rod and racket granules. They have rod and racket granules mean right the racket of the badminton, like this one. This they have the rod and this have the racket. Rod and racket granules, and this when you look the biopsy of the skin in the stratum spinosum, you will feel the rod. This portion is the rod and this portion is the racket. So in the stratum spinosum, you will feel rod and racket granules that will help for the endocytosis. Clear? So these are the end of the cells of the epidermis. Next one are the cells of the dermis. So what are the portion of the dermis? Before discussing the dermis, so next portion, here is the, sorry, what is the page here? 17. So next portion, next topic, 18, is the DEJ. DEJ. What is the DEJ? This is next topic. Dermoepidermal junction. Dermoepidermal junction. Other name of this dermoepidermal junction is the basement membrane zone. Basement membrane zone. BMZ. Basement membrane zone. So what is the DAG and the basement membrane zone? First I tell you, this is the dermis and here is the, sorry, this is the epidermis, here is the dermis. So where this is the epidermis, this is the stratum corneum, granulosum, spinosum, and finally basal. Stratum basal. Stratum basal cells are columnar in size but attached to this membrane, that is the basement membrane. So it means in the epidermis and dermis there is a junction. It means meeting point between dermis and epidermis. This meeting point between dermis and epidermis is the junctional point. We call it the dermoepidermal junction. Dermoepidermal junction. The point where the dermis will adherent to epidermis and the point where the epidermis is going to end and dermis is going to start. That is the dermoepidermal junction. It is present between epidermis and dermis layer. Meeting point between dermis and epidermis. It is a point or portion that is present between epidermis and dermis. So first I draw the diagram. Very simple diagram. It will help you. Epidermis. So here last part, I am not going to discuss the upper portion of the epidermis, only last portion of epidermis. So I want to show here only one columnar cell. This is only one columnar cell. I should draw it very clear. I think here is the 19 again. I should draw it very, very clear. So this one is the epidermis. Okay. So in this epidermis, stratum corneum, granulosum, spinosum, and last one is this one is the only one cell. That is the cell, one cell of the stratum basal. Okay. And this stratum basal has the lower portion. This one portion that is the protein in nature. This one portion that is protein in nature. That is the hemidesmosome. What is that? Hemidesmosome. This is the columnar cell or basal cell and has the hemidesmosome. That is protein. Hemidesmosome. So in this cell, there are the filaments. These are the filaments that are the keratin. Intermediate filaments are tonofilaments. These are the keratin filaments. These are the keratin filaments. What are these filaments? keratin filaments, because these keratin filaments are present in basal cell. So we call them K5, K14. K5 and K14 keratin basal filaments. Okay. So this is the hemidesmosome. Actually, hemidesmosome is like this one. This is the one protein, and this one lower to one is the other protein. Collectively, this protein and this protein. Basal cells are attached to protein, that is the hemidesmosome, this protein and this protein. Look at here. Basal cells, they have the keratin filaments in them, and then basal cells on the downside are attached to hemidesmosome, that is the protein. Okay. So this hemidesmosine protein has two parts. Upper is the plectin and lower is the integrin. So this part of hemidesmosome is plectin and this part is the integrin. Hemidesmosome, this is, I am going to show you with the arrows, has two parts. Upper part where the keratin filaments are bound, and lower part where this basal cells are attached, that is known as integrin. On the other hand, this and this part of the hemidesmosomes are known as BPA1, BPA1 and BPA2. I will discuss what is meant by BPA1 and BPA2. It means bullous pemphigus antigen 1, bullous pemphigus antigen 2. I will discuss and write their names. Clear? Lower to that, this basal cell, lowerly, downside, it is attached to the basement membrane. It is attached to this membrane. Look at here. So this basal cells are attached to basement membrane, but they are attached with the anchoring filaments. These are the anchoring filaments. So these basal cells have the keratin filaments. These keratin filaments are attached to protein, that is hemidesmosomes, having two parts, plectin, integrin, BPA1 and BPA2. And lowerly, these basal cells are attached to basement membrane by the which one? Anchoring filaments. Which one filaments? Anchoring. So this is the anchoring, ANCHORING, anchoring filament. So anchoring filament has the protein that is known as laminin. Laminin, laminin. Okay, and this one is the basement membrane area. Okay, and that has the collagen 4 and nidogen. So it has the collagen 4. This is collagen 4, and this one is the nidogen. So here it is the collagen 4, and this part is the nidogen, Nidogen, nidogen. So look at here, basal cell attached to the hemidesmosomes, that has the BPA1, BPA2, plectin, integrin, anchoring substance or filament that has the protein laminin, and also has the attached to the basement membrane. This basement membrane has the collagen 4 and the nidogen. Lower to that, it is again attached to the filament, and that filaments are the anchoring fibrils. So these are the anchoring fibrils. anchoring fibrils. Okay, and lower to that will be a dermis. Lower to that will be dermis. So here is the dermis. Clear? So this is the dermis and this one is the epidermis. So in between dermis and the epidermis there is a junction known as dermoepidermal junction. Very simple. Here is this portion, we are going to discuss only this portion in a magnified way. Upper is the stratum basal cell and lower is the dermis. In between them there are some structures. So stratum basal cell, vision keratin filaments, hemidesmosomes having the plectin, integrin, BPA1, BPAG2, anchoring filament that will anchor it with the basement membrane, and that has the collagen 4 and the nidogen, and then there are the anchoring fibrils that will bound it to the desmosomes. So this area, this anchoring filament is also known as lucida, and lower is known as substantia densa. So this is the lucid area. This is very clear area. We call it lucida, and this one is the dense area. We call it densa. So I think it will be clear. Is it clear? Okay, again repeating. Maybe some students are confused. What is the name of this cell? Columnar cell of the stratum basal. Clear? Columnar cell of stratum basal. In this cell, there are the keratin filaments K5 and K14. So this basal cell is attaching to some part, and that some part is the hemidesmosomes having the plectin, integrin, BPAG1, BPAG2. Lower to that, it is attached with the anchoring filaments that are made up of the laminin protein, and they make the lucida clear portion. Lower to that, there will be a basement membrane, and this basement membrane has the collagen 4 and the nidogen, and lower to that is the anchoring fibrils, and finally there is a dermis. So dermis and epidermal junction. Okay. So weakest layer in the dermoepidermal junction is the lamina lucida. What is the weakest layer? Weakest layer is this layer. That is the lamina lucida. Lamina lucida is the weakest layer in this junction. So when there is a problem in this layer, lamina lucida, when there is a defect in this lamina lucida, it will lead to the subepidermal disorders. Why it is called subepidermal disorders? So here is 19. Let's move on to the 20. Very simple diagram. I should draw it. Very simple diagram. Here is the columnar cell. What is that? Columnar cell. This columnar cell has the keratin filaments. These keratin filaments are attached to two proteins. It is very extremely simple diagram. These two proteins okay, collectively this one from here up to here is known as hemidesmosome. So this portion and this portion has the different names: plectin and integrin. Plectin, integrin. This portion has the BPAG2 AG1. This portion has the BPAG2. Clear? Lower to that, this one is the anchoring or anchoring filament. Anchoring filament. So this is anchoring filament. This anchoring filament is made up of protein that is laminin. That is laminin. LAMININ. Then lower to that will be a basement membrane. This is the basement membrane. It is anchoring to basement membrane. So this basement membrane has the collagen 4 and also it has the nitrogen. It has collagen 4 and nitrogen. So I should draw it. It has the collagen 4 and also it has nitrogen. And lower to that is the again anchoring fibrils, not the filaments. These are the anchoring fibrils. Okay. So lower to that is the anchoring. Here is this one is the anchoring fibrils. And lower to that is the dermis. Clear? This is the dermis. So when there is a this portion, look at here, this portion is the very clear portion and the weakest portion. We call it lamina lucida. Lamina lucida. And this portion is the very dense portion. We call it lamina densa. This portion of the anchoring filament is the weakest portion. So call it lamina lucida. And this portion is the very dense portion. Call it lamina densa. So when there is a disorder of this portion, we call it subepidermal disorders because it is lower to the epidermis. So disorder of this portion is known as sub mean lower, subepidermal disorder or the supradermal disorders. So what are the different epidermal disorders? It means what are the different disorders of the lamina lucida? So why actually this anchoring filaments, keep in mind these anchoring filaments, these are made up of collagen 7. This is made up of collagen 4, but these are made up of collagen 7. So what are the subepidermal disorders? Look at the subepidermal disorders. Subepidermal disorders. We will discuss all these subepidermal disorders under the main topic that is the blistering disease. What are that? Blistering disorders are the blistering disease. But here I am going to discuss there some subepidermal disorders. So what are the subepidermal disorders? So here there is a protein that is defective, proteins that are defective, defect. You know, dermoepidermal junction is comprises of different proteins. So when, keep in mind, when there is a defect of first protein, that is the BPAG2, that is defective. BPAG2 is defective. What does it stand for? BPAG2. BP mean, B stand for bullous pemphigoid. BULLOUS, bullous. P stand for pemphigoid. Pemphigoid. AG mean antigen 2. So when this is defective, look at here in the diagram. It means when this one is defective, this one is defective. So what will happen? So name of the disease due to defect of BPAG2, that is the bullous pemphigoid. Name of the diseases are, first one is the bullous pemphigoid. So bullous pemphigoid is the defect or the genetic disorders due to the defect in the BPAG2. Second defect or second disease is the LAD. LAD, linear antigen A disease. What is that? Linear antigen A disease. So third one, 22. So third one defect is the lichen planus pemphigoids. Lichen planus pemphigoid. Sorry, PEMPHIGOID. Lichen planus pemphigoid. And fourth disorder is the herpes gestationalis. Herpes gestationalis. So all these four disorders are due to defect in BPAG2. So next, when there is a defect into the other protein, what is the other protein? That is the collagen 7. So next defect is the defect in the collagen 7 defect. What is the collagen 7? This one is the collagen 7 anchoring fibrils. This one, when this defect is here, collagen 7 defect, then name of the disease is the epidermolysis bullosa dystrophica. Epidermolysis bullosa dystrophica. Dystrophica mean scarring. It will make a scar. Okay, collagen 7 defect. Name of the disease is epidermolysis bullosa dystrophica. Clear? So when there is a defect, last one defect is in the BPAG1 or BPAG2. Then name of the disease is bullous pemphigoid. What is that? Bullous pemphigoid. Name of the disease is bullous pemphigoid. GOID. Other disease is the dermatitis herpetiformis. Other disease is dermatitis. Okay, other disease I am going to write above. Dermatitis herpetiformis. So don't be confused. When we will discuss the blistering disorders, we will discuss each and every disease in detail. Just remember the names of the disease. So look at here. This is the dermoepidermal junction. When there is a problem at the lamina lucida, such disorders are known as subepidermal disorders. And subepidermal disorders are the defects in the different types of the proteins. Maybe defect in the BPAG1 or BPAG2. B stand for bullous pemphigoid antigen 1, bullous pemphigoid antigen 2. So name of the disease is bullous pemphigoid. So okay, when there is a defect in the collagen 7, so then name of the disease is the epidermolysis bullosa dystrophica. Epidermolysis bullosa dystrophica. So just now remember the names of the diseases and also their presenting proteins. But we will discuss all these things with their clinical aspect. What are the features, clinical features, what are the site where they are present,